Alrighty, so welcome to the weekly Inside Real Estate Success Strategies webinar. You can find the replays of these. We always record them or do our best to at insiderealestate.com/webinars. It's a page that looks like this. Don't forget, we have all our virtual training summit replays, hundreds of hours of content there, and all of the replays of our success strategy sessions right here with the blue button, as well as a bunch of other videos and a link to the Success Strategies Facebook group, which you should be in at insiderealestate.com/Facebook group if you're not already in there. Now today, our topic is a little bit advanced, a little bit off the beaten path. The last few weeks we've been having some great interviews, some great content, so definitely check out those replays. But today, it's going to be something that a lot of you guys who are new to kvCORE might not need yet. And if you're not at this kind of technical level where you're doing the kind of stuff I'm going to talk about today, don't worry about that. Don't let it stress you out. Maybe just watch and kind of use this for informational purposes. You could put some of this information in the back of your head and kind of learn about some of the things that kvCORE is capable of doing on the integration front using a tool like Zapier. So again, I might feel like I'm moving a little faster. I'm introducing concepts that might be out there. Frankly, for a lot of people, you don't really need to be doing a lot of this stuff, but we've had a number of requests lately in the group to go over this content, and that's what we're going to do today. So feel free to ask any questions you might have in the chat there, and I'm going to kind of jump right in here, and we'll start off by introducing what Zapier is, or Zapier. I get stuck sometimes. I say Zapier, I say both of them, and some guy yelled at me a couple of weeks ago. I really don't know. When I look it up in Google, it's Zapier or Zapier. Whatever you want to call it. I don't think we should get mad at each other for pronouncing something the wrong way. So I'm going to keep going with Zapier, I think. So what is it? Well, it's kind of this app. I'm going to go to it. And if you've heard of Zapier or Zapier, feel free to in the chat and say, yeah, I know what this is. If you've never heard of it before, let me know. Kind of fun audience participation in the chat if you want to. But what it is it's an app that connects other apps together. And it's been around a while. There's a number of different platforms that do a similar thing, but this is probably one of the older ones. And if you go to their website, it says connect your apps and automate workflows. Basically, it makes different software systems talk to each other, which is kind of, might be a good way to kind of boil it down. So you could take kvCORE and make it talk to any number of other applications like Gmail, Google Sheets, Slack, your Google Calendar. You can schedule tasks. I know Shane, who we had last week, as a guest on this session, he does all kinds of crazy stuff, zapping stuff over to Google Calendar, all kinds of hacky stuff you can do and have fun with. So basically any software out there these days, it's kind of modern, and with it probably has integrated itself and tied itself into Zapier so that other software solutions can play with it. So the reason this is relevant to us is that kvCORE not only has an API for more advanced developers, that is accessible for people who want to do direct integrations, who can code things up. We also have a nice integration with Zapier that allows you to, without having to code, to connect kvCORE up to other sources and do different things. So I want to mention at this point that this is kind of similar to what API Nation does in a lot of ways. If you've seen the API Nation options inside of Marketplace, and I'll point those out right now. If you've seen those, there are some specific things you can do with API Nation, like tie kvCORE to Constant Contact, tie it to Google Sheets, push your Facebook lead ad leads in. I think you can do one bridge there. And it's kind of a similar concept, but Zapier kind of opens you up to more than just these 5 different apps. So I just want to point here and mention that, I'm going to show you how to do Facebook lead ad today with Zapier, but you might be able to save some money in some cases by using one or a few of these API Nation apps right there. Okay, so before you go, just look and see what's available on that front. Okay, so that's that. Some specific things you might do with Zapier, and this is just a few that off the top of my head. I've seen people sending leads to a spreadsheet. Maybe you're sharing leads with an ISA, and you don't want to let them log into kvCORE, but you want them to call your leads or work them in some way. Or maybe your lender, your lender has requested, maybe they have access, but they're not very tech savvy. Hey, can you just put all these leads that you're getting that we're working together, can you put them on a spreadsheet for me? That's a common use I've seen people use. A lot of people send leads to a third party, CRM or autoresponder. Again, with API Nation, you can do Constant Contact and MailChimp, but Zapier opens up to probably hundreds of other autoresponders if you happen to be using something else out there. So you can send your leads into an email follow-up system outside of kvCORE. You can send yourself lead notifications. and lead notifications to other parties like your lender. You could add tasks to third-party systems. I just mentioned, like you can add tasks to Todoist, which is my favorite to-do manager, or Google Calendar, things like that, Wunderlist. You could trigger direct mail. We have Thanks.io sitting in the marketplace. Disclosure, I'm a co-founder of that one. But you could send direct mail through Lob, through Thanks.io, through any number of different postcard platforms or letter platforms that hook up to Zapier. And there's a number of them out there. So if you want to send direct mail automated as part of your smart campaigns in kvCORE, you can do that. You can also trigger closing gifts. I don't know where Send Out Cards is on this front, but I know that there are things out there like zendirect.com that allows you to send physical stuff in the mail and are built for Zapier. So, you could tie into something like this and send your past clients some brownies a year later as a happy anniversary gift. So many different possibilities of what you could do. But this happens to be, Zendirect happens to be one that you could just tie into right there. I know that Send Out Cards is popular in the industry. I just don't know if they've hooked themselves up to Zapier yet. So Zendirect would be an option there. You can also push leads in. So all these things I just talked about here was sending leads out. You get stuff going on in kvCORE and it goes out. You can also push leads in. The most common is that Facebook lead form stuff that I talk about all the time. It's just, to me, the most efficient way to get a lead into kvCORE. We've built Property Boost and our Facebook AI advertising around this concept and automatically bridge leads in for you. But some people like to run their own lead ads, and we have a lot of users who do use Zapier to do that with Facebook lead ads. So you take the form that's filled out in Facebook and you push the leads in. Google also has a similar thing now too, which I should put on Google lead ads. It's not very refined. I've played with it a little bit. It's not great, but you could take an email submission off of a Google ad. It is possible to do that now and zap it in. You can send your leads out, of course, have them come in from other third-party platforms. I don't want to name any specifics, but there's a lot of them out there, right, who might have a Zapier tie-in that you might send a lead into kvCORE from, and there's so many in the industry. So if you're using another tool right now and you're like, hey, it'd be nice if I kind of got stuff out of this tool, maybe your broker's providing you some software, but you want to manage everything in kvCORE, for example, there's a good chance that you can tie it in with Zapier. So just look into that. Say, hey, does this XYZ platform link up? And usually the way to tell is if you go right over, I'm going to go right over to Zapier here. Used to be able to, here we go, search for the apps you use. So I don't know, Top Producer, right? For the longest time they didn't, but it looks like now you could hook up Top Producer. I'm curious, like what would be Bold Leads? I don't know. They're not popping right up. So go look at the things you're using and see if they have an integration there. If you can't find a direct integration, even if I type kvCORE, might not pop up. And that's because a lot of times the process for getting an app public with Zapier is very arduous. It takes a while. And I know that we're still pending having ours in the public database. So the way that you access Zapier, which I'll show you in a minute, is by the private invite link. So even though your app that you're looking for to connect up might not be publicly available on the front, you might want to go ask their support or look in your dashboard to see if they offer you a private invite link. So don't assume that just because it's not on the home page, it's not there. Okay, so getting leads out, pushing leads in. Let's jump in now and actually do some stuff. I'm going to show you how to link Zapier up to kvCORE, and maybe we'll build a Zap or two along the way, just so you can get a feel for how this all works. Okay. Alrighty. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go into kvCORE. And well, the first thing you should do, first thing you should do is just go get a free Zapier account. So you'd want to have that set up. They offer a free plan. They have other pricing tiers. There are certain things you need to actually pay in order to do, such as the Facebook lead ads. You need to pay, I think, the $20 a month or the $25 a month plan in order to have that feature, which is why the free version from API Nation is a good way to do Facebook lead forms. But you can go get your free plan to start using it and kicking the tires. A lot of the different apps will be free, like Google Sheets and things like that. You don't have to pay for it. Okay, so now that you have your Zapier account, that would be the first thing. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to want to tie your kvCORE up to Zapier. And the best way, maybe the best flow for doing that would be to just go in and click Make a Zap. So I'm in Zapier, I'm gonna click Make a Zap. And I'm just gonna type in kvCORE. And I've already done this, so it's showing up. And please excuse me, I know I'm jumping around a little bit. Even I get confused here. So because I've already done it, it is popping up. But the right step is to actually use the invite link if you've never done it. Sorry, I did do this and prepare before. I spent like the half hour before preparing. I just forgot what I prepared. So you do need to go to the lead engine right here. And then you're gonna go to lead Dropbox. Right there. And then you're gonna see right up top here, click here to access the Zapier app right here. So I'm gonna click that. I'm gonna open it in a new window. And when I do that, it'll then kind of hook it up. It'll kind of pull it in the first time you do it. So kvCORE will show up there. And you only need to do that one time to link it up to Zapier, and then it'll kind of be available to pick in the future. And then I'm gonna just do, anytime I get a new lead, I'll explain what that other option was from campaign action in a minute. So anytime I get a new lead, I'll click continue. And then it asks me to connect a kvCORE account. So I have the accounts that I've hooked up in the past, and the first time you do this, there won't be any, and I'll click add new account. It'll give us this kind of hover right here, and it'll ask for our API key. So I'm in my personal kvCORE account, and I'm an agent, so I only see one key. If you're a team leader or you're an admin or you have broker level control, you might see 3 different keys. You might see the agent, you might see office level, and you might see company key. And the reason that's important is you might decide that you want to send leads in from a lead source for your whole team and have it obey lead routing rules. In that case, you would want to use the Zapier key for the office or the brokerage. All right, so just remember that. If you see 3 of them there, just choose the one that kind of makes sense given where you're going to be sending the leads to your agents. You know, it's kind of intuitive there. If you just only want the leads to go to the one agent, to yourself, then you're going to go here and you're going to copy the key for Zapier. So I copied it. And then I will go here. I'll click yes, continue. So Shoni, you probably chose, instead of new lead, you might have chosen the other option, which I'll show in just a minute. So when you choose app and event right here, you could do new lead or campaign action. There's a way to tie apps to campaign actions, but I'm doing the one here that says new lead. Anytime a new lead comes into kvCORE, and I'll hit continue. And then I can test it if I want. And it should show me the latest lead that came in. I might actually be showing myself. It might be that's how we do the test. And you can also see what parameters, when you do the test, that kvCORE is sending out. It's sending out whether it's a seller lead, the seller street address, full address, and some other information. It also sends out hashtags if there are any, and so on. So I'll click done. And then let's say that I want to send any new lead I get here. I want to email all my new leads to my lender because he's just totally not tech savvy, and he just, he just wants to be notified about somebody to call to see if he can get them pre-approved. Diana's asking, does every agent have Zapier? You would just go create your own free Zapier account at zapier.com, and then everybody has an API key inside of kvCORE. You have your own unique key. So I'm going to continue here, and I'm going to go hook up Gmail, okay? Because I want to send my lender all my new leads. So I'm going to click Gmail, and I'm going to send a Gmail, and choose that option. Click continue, and then I'll choose a Gmail account the same way. So you could add a new account, and when you do that, it'll look very similar. It would ask you to log into Gmail, and it would authorize it. Similar way, but I already have one attached, so I'll hook it up to my inside real estate. Oh, bummer. It wants me to reconnect. That happens sometimes too. So I will allow. That was very easy. Sometimes you don't even need the key. It just automatically authorizes. I'll click continue. And now this is going to be a similar process whatever you do. What you're going to do is you're going to see your action app, I think they call it. They used to call it the action app. You're going to have all these fields that you fill out and all these parameters. And what you can do is you can take the information from the initial source app up here from kvCORE, and you can kind of feed it in here, or you can put your own variables in. So I'll do lender guy. I'm just going to type his email in at mortgage company. That's who I want this email to go to. And then maybe I'd CC myself, right? And then my from would be one of my Gmail accounts right there. Sorry about the dog. Always whenever I'm doing a webinar. The from name that the email comes from, so I'm just sending it to my lender, so I'll just put my name. I could have fun with it sometimes, like your magic lead fairy, something like that. You want to crack them up a little. The reply to, and you're going to go through, it's going to be different for every app, kind of what the parameters are. But you'll see what I want to show you is the subject line. So I'm going to do new lead, and I'm going to merge in. See how I click in here and we have this drop down? Show all options. I can say new lead, and then I'm clicking the name, first name and last name. So I'm merging that into the body of the email. And these green fields, you can see the green tag for kvCORE. This is the information that kvCORE sends over every time I get a new lead. So this is dynamic, meaning that every time there's a new lead, this will be different, but I'm kind of putting the placeholders in to Zapier so that it knows to grab that variable. And the body would be, I would just do, whoa, got a new lead, bro. Get them pre-approved. All right, so you can have fun with that in this example. And then we would just, again, merge in the name, maybe put the phone in, right? Put some other details about the lead in, email address, and anything else that might be relevant. Maybe I want to throw the hashtags in so they know what that is. So I'm not saying that, that I'm recommending that you do this for your lender. It's just the main use for this kind of thing is when you have kind of corner cases, like weird stuff that you want the system to do that's not built in functionality wise. kvCORE, you can just bring your lender in and they can have an account. But just, you have an ISA you want to share a lead for, might be a better example. You can then use Zapier to do those things. Scott, this is recorded. Yes, I am fast. I'm from New Jersey. I don't expect too much, but I talk a little fast. I apologize. You can slow me down on replay. Sorry. And really, like I said again, this is a little more advanced, and there are people kind of at this level of anything, and I don't want to be too slow too. So just kind of tough, tough to accommodate everybody. All right, and then that's that. That's kind of the Gmail. I've kind of got all my parameters in. I'll hit continue, and then I can send a test. So I can do test and review. And then it'll like send a test Gmail if you want to make sure it's working. And then the last step would be to turn on a Zap. Now, whoever has this fake email that I use is going to get this text. I forget what I did. So, this will help you understand. So I did lenderguy@mortgagecompany.com, right? For testing, I might have just put my lender's email in, or I might have put my own in for testing purposes, and then I can come test it later, something like that. So continue. And now what this did, in case I did go too fast, what we basically just set up is we said, hey, anytime there's a new lead in kvCORE, I want you to send an email to my lender and tell them the contact info for that guy, right? And then just make sure you turn it on. I've done this so many times. This is kind of glitchiness in Zapier. Sometimes you'll think you turned it on and it didn't turn on like I just did. Now it's green. See, it's green up there. It says on. And don't forget to name it. For some reason, they don't. You'll have a bunch of my first apps with kvCORE. So lender demo, kvCORE webinar, just so I know what this was. Now, I'm going to really go next level here. This is just a good time to do it. And I don't, we're getting a little geeky, but if I wanted to, I could say, hey, I don't want my lender to get any leads unless they have certain, the lead has certain criteria about them. So Zapier has all these different built-in things, but the one I find myself using a lot is called Filter by Zapier. So I'm going to click Filter, and you see how it says only continue if, and I might say only send leads whose names are Ryan to my lender. But the more common case might be, you might say, only if lead quality, I'm looking for the hashtag here. There it is. See the hashtags? Only if the hashtag contains, and then any value. Thank you, Ruby. The hashtag contains, whatever it might be. So it might be Philly. You're going to send one lender all your Philly leads, and the hashtags are coming in, and they say Philly. So you can go crazy here. You could also exclude certain leads, and I'm not going to drill too deep on that, but just know it's the filter variable. The other thing you can do, another advanced thing, is they have this thing called delay. So I'm going to click the plus again right here. Delay. And this is kind of a built-in Zapier function. I can say, hey, I don't want the lender to get this lead because I'm going to work it first. I'm going to be calling, and I don't want the person to get 20 calls right away. So I'm going to delay for, continue. Let's give it 30 minutes. So I'll do time for delayed 30 minutes. And what that'll do is it'll wait, the lead will come in, it'll hit this delay, it'll wait 30 minutes, and then it'll do the email right there. So again, a little more advanced, not too many cases where you want to do this, but I wanted to get this webinar recorded because this stuff does come up. It comes up probably for everybody at some point. There's something you want to do that Zapier would be handy for. And once you've done it a few times, it's not too complicated. You just got to kind of know about these things like the delay and the filter and how to connect two apps together and pull the variables in. So let me handle a question or two here before we continue. That VoIP question, Jen, you do have a smart number, and you can get your own smart number. That would be, you can ask support about that. When we create a landing page or squeeze page on kvCORE, do we always need to use Zapier? I'm glad this question came up. Absolutely not at all. Soledad. So this is only for when you want to do stuff that kvCORE doesn't do. If you're building a squeeze page or a landing page, and you just want to work the leads inside of kvCORE, and you're not trying to send that information anywhere else, don't worry about it at all. You don't need this. Yeah, but just know that it's possible to do. You might say, hey, this particular landing page, I actually do want to, send these leads over to somebody else. And there's a bunch of crazy stuff you could do. For example, you could send, instead of sending a Gmail, I could send a lead to Gmail, then watch this. I can add another action. And this is insane. I could send that lead to a specific Facebook custom audience. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now, but if you know what retargeting and custom audiences are, you just got a little bit excited, maybe, right? Because you could say, hey, this kind of lead with this hashtag goes in this audience. This kind of lead with that hashtag goes in this audience, and so on. Okay, so, yep. All right. Cool. So that's kind of an example of one Zap being built, and that was a situation where it goes from kvCORE out to another system, and that's for a new lead. I now want to show you how to send Zaps from within Smart Campaigns. So bear with me here. It's going to get a little more juicy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change. Remember, we went back and I chose the new lead option. I'm going to change this, and instead I'm going to do it based on a campaign action. And I'll show you in kvCORE what I'm getting at here. So I'm changing this to campaign action. It's going to be tied to an action that happens inside of a Smart Campaign. Let's hop on over to Marketing Autopilot. I'm going to go into the Smart Campaigns section. Okay, I got to go to my campaigns. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, campaigns? This has never happened before. Only on a webinar, right? One second, let me refresh the page. Yes, Annalisa. That's really funny. You see that? Like, there's nothing there. All right, here, let me add one. Let's just add one real quick. So from, I'm just making a random one, guys. Don't pay attention to, oh, there they are. Probably because I have the webinar software running, it might have just been lagging a little bit on me there, but there they came. That's great. So now I'm going to go into just any old campaign. Not a system campaign. I got to go into my library, an existing campaign in my library. And then I'm going to do add action right here. So I'm going to add a campaign action. And you'll notice Zapier is an option kind of down toward the bottom. So why this is cool is I can say, hey, on day, I can say like, let's do 45 days in, okay? Trigger this zap and send this lead a postcard. I don't know, but you know, whatever it's gonna do. So send postcard. So maybe this is part of my post-closing campaign, and I'm thanking, you know, I'm gonna send a thank you gift in the mail through ZenDirect that I showed you later. You know, so send closing gift. We'll make it, the closing gift, we'll make it like 7 days later. Okay. I'm gonna copy this right here. This is my Zap ID up top. Copy this. I haven't done this in a while, so, and then I'm gonna click add. Yeah, it worked. I couldn't remember what the connection was. And on day 45, it's gonna trigger the Zap with that ID. And remember, I copied it so into my clipboard. And if I ever need to go back, I can just go click edit and I can get it again. Now I'm gonna go back into Zapier, and I've got this campaign action. Hit continue. And it's going to ask me to put the ID in right there. So basically what this does is the Zap will be triggered 45 days. I think I named it weird, 7 days, you know, whatever you set it to do, it'll be triggered on that day. What did I do? I meant to do 7. There we go. So say this is my past closing campaign, and then I'm gonna have it send a closing gift after 7 days. So I'm building this out. Hit continue. We'll skip the test for now. Now I would have, these would be for leads that have an address. So I'll just leave the delay there. But what I would do in this case is I would choose a different app, not Gmail, right? I would have chosen, I don't know if ZenDirect's gonna pop up. It did, look at that. Right, so send card or mailer, and I can send it over. Also, thanks.io, for those of you using that, that's in the marketplace, would pop up as well. And then you have some options with thanks.io in there. Right there. By the way, yeah, I shouldn't bring this up. Thanks.io can now send to a radius, which is pretty cool. So if you have like you want to send to all the houses around a house. But so ZenDirect, thanks.io, what else would you send closing gifts to? There's a few of these things out there. Let's see if send out cards is in there. Send out. They're not in there yet, but ZenDirect might be a good option. Okay, if I didn't want to send a card, maybe I wanted to send a text. There's all kinds of, point is there's all kinds of weird stuff you could do at that point. The important part to get for the purposes of this webinar is that you can, in certain stages of a campaign, you can say, hey, send this information about this contact over to, over to Zapier so they can take over. Now, we used to use this really heavily for voicemail, right? Core voicemail, which we now have. You can send voicemails natively, but it used to be you would send it over to Slide Broadcast or something here. But what we've, as you may have noticed over the years, and more of it's coming, is that gradually kvCORE is starting to get some of the things you would do Zaps for as native functionality. So I will point to the voicemail item is you no longer need a Zap. You can now send you can create a templates using Core voicemail, for example, or for BombBomb to send. Doing a lot of Zaps for a specific thing, there's a good chance we're at least considering making it native, so you don't have to use Zapier. But this kind of gets over the fact that a lot of the things that the system can't do natively, or that we haven't gotten around to building yet, you can then make the system do and make it talk to other apps. Okay. So that was an example of doing it from a campaign using the template. So I've given you two examples. That you get a new lead, it sends it out, okay, and then you get information sent out from within campaigns. Now I want to show you how to push a lead in from a third party, and we'll use Facebook as the example because that's kind of the most common one that comes up. Remember, API Nation can do this for you for free, but I think they have some limitations with that. I think maybe you can only do it for one. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're doing a bunch of this, you might find that you want to use Zapier. And part of the reason I'm doing this webinar today is that somebody was just asking me about this in a support ticket. So let me show you how that looks. Let me go back. Let's just create a fresh Zap for this one. So make a Zap. I'm going to use Facebook lead ads is the Zap name. It'll be whenever a new lead is triggered. So Susan's saying if you SSO into kvCORE, so that would be some enterprises like Weichert maybe? Is that, there's some cases where, right, so Weichert would be an example, maybe you don't have the API Nation, so you would want to do this. So new lead in, thanks Susan, new lead in Facebook lead ads. So I'm going to choose the lead ads account. So again, it looks very similar. I've got a few that I've linked up over the years, but it's really actually pretty easy to do. It just, if you're logged into Facebook, it'll just kind of link it up for you. See, it doesn't even do anything. Just connects you up to Facebook, and then you choose a page. I've got a bunch here. You type your page in, and then if you built a Facebook lead form, you can grab any form right there. This is a bad example. Let me grab a different one. The one I chose, there's a chance that we would see somebody's. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to remember one that has a lead form attached. Hopefully this one does. Oh, boy. This one. There we go, good. My buddy Walt, New York, PA. All right, so basically I picked the page, and then any lead forms that are attached to it you can pick. So he was doing a 55 plus downsizing campaign for a while. So click continue. Test my trigger. So ads asking for Facebook ads, would I need to use that? I would need to use Zapier all the time. Only for the Facebook ads that have the lead generation forms, the form that pops up in the middle of Facebook, that kind of form. Now, this is a cumbersome process. You have to pay for Zapier. You have to do all kinds of plumbing hooking up. And I'll just mention that one of the reasons we have Property Boost and that we have the Facebook AI lead generation platform is so that you don't have to do any of this. It kind of just happens automatically with a push of a button. So yeah, you don't necessarily have to use Zapier though. So now it pulled the lead in. You see Facebook sends all this dummy data in, they call it, right here. Continue. And now I want to send that lead info into kvCORE. So got kvCORE hooked up already. I can update a contact, or I can create a new contact. Choose my account. Continue. And now what I'll do is I'll map the information over from Facebook. So first name, last name, my lead type, I'll go buyer. Put the cell phone in there because it's a Facebook ad. I usually get the cell number. That one, I'll get the email, that one. Okay, and then I can put in, you can go down the line. One thing I want to point out is you can put hashtags in here. So you can kind of add hashtags on the fly for that ad. So say this was downsizing. And I'm pretty sure, oh boy, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it works whether you do or don't put the hashtag sign in, the number sign for those of us over whatever 40 or something, right? The numbers, it's the number sign or a hashtag. So hashtag sizing, and you can put multiple. I think the way you do that was with commas or with a pipe. Word only. Thank you, Annalisa. So she says, don't add the hashtag; it could break it. So don't put the number sign or the hashtag in there. Don't listen to me. All right. So downsizing. And then it says if you wanted to do multiple, it's the pipe character. It says it right underneath. So I would do this thing right here, another tag like that. So now, whenever a new lead comes in off that form, it'll go into kvCORE. One of the main reasons you want to do the hashtag is so that you can trigger campaigns. I think you can actually directly trigger. Boy, I haven't done this in a little while. I thought we used to be able to directly trigger a campaign from the Zap, but I could be wrong. You'll use the hashtag to do that. You can assign to specific agents. I guess it's not there. So yeah, so that's why you would set the hashtag, and then you can trigger different campaigns. You could trigger hashtag alerts as well, right? Based on the hashtag, you could trigger property alerts. So I continue. And then you would just test it and review. And it would, you know, when you hit test, it should send a lead into kvCORE, and you'll make sure that it's there and that it's working, and then you'll turn on the Zap. So the actual creation of those Facebook lead ads, I'm going to be gradually updating the course. There's a Facebook ads course inside of inside the learning portal. But there is a kind of a full tutorial about how to do this with Zapier in that course. You know, from front to start, how to build the ad, how to zap it in, and most of that should still be accurate and relevant. It's probably almost 2 years old now, but I don't think much has changed. Just some of the ways the dashboards look. So definitely search for Facebook inside the dashboard if you want to dig deeper on the specifics of running that Facebook ad. So yeah, that's kind of it. We could be here for days and days and days if I tried to show you every possible example. But I think for the purpose of this webinar, you needed to see, I wanted you to see kind of how it looks and how it flows. Wanted to make sure you understood that filter and that delay. Those will come in handy. And that really all it is doing is just a matter of hooking 2 or 3 different apps together and taking the data that comes from one and telling it where to go in the other one. And all you're looking at here is kind of a graphical user interface for a bunch of complex coding that you would have had to do in the past. You would have had to hire a developer to do all this stuff, and Zapier kind of makes it really simple to do right there. So I'll stop now. Anybody have any specific questions or feedback on this? Anything that you could think of that you might want to do, or any app you might want to play with? I mean, I have a few minutes if you want me to kind of show another example of something you're doing. Definitely, if you have like a tech guy that you work with, reach out to them. Great question. So that's saying, if we run into problems with Zapier, who can offer support? kvCORE staff on chat. They probably can help to some level. I might say, just to save our support team more load, is that if you go into the Facebook group, I'm in there, of course, moderating, but we have a number of advanced users in there who are probably just as likely or more likely to have your answer than maybe our support team does sometimes, because they're not always using Zapier, you know, for these reasons. So definitely try the group if you have a Zapier question. I'm going to say that if you have a question about, like, maybe it's not linking together because your API key isn't working or something like that, something technical and functional with the system, then definitely use our support. And Annalisa says there's lots of great info in our help portals. SharePoint, can we integrate SharePoint to Zapier, kvCORE via Zapier? Let's try it out. So the way that I would do that is let's just go try to build a new app, SharePoint. They're not popping up out of the box. So, you know, I'm just searching to see if they came up. Is that Microsoft? SharePoint? So you might have to go ask SharePoint support. SharePoint. Zapier. Yeah, so when I go there, SharePoint has not yet built an integration. See, Zapier is smart. They already actually had them come, and it says they might be working on it. It says upcoming. Yeah. But, you know, again, ask SharePoint. They might say, oh, yeah, we just haven't really gotten around to it, but it's in testing. Here's the invite link, and they might give you the link to hook it up. Or they might want beta testers. See, any other questions? That's it. All right, well, I guess to answer Janina's question, yes, it's recorded. It'll be at insiderealestate.com/webinars. So you just click on the strategy session webinar replays. Definitely check out the last few weeks. Jane's interview was great. Have your lender watch that one. We did some cool stuff with this one right here with Aaron. I think people love. He's a broker owner out in Las Vegas. Just tons of great nuggets in there. Awesome webinar with Gabe over at Evocalize about Facebook real estate ads a few weeks ago. So check out all the recordings. This will be added there as well in a few hours. And that's about it. Thank you guys for attending. And we'll be back next week, same time, same channel, 2 p.m. East on Wednesdays. See you in the Facebook group. All right, have a good one. Oh, go ahead, Tess. Fire it out. Everybody else can go. Tess has a question. How can we nurture seller leads? So a few quick things. Put your seller leads on automatic hashtag alerts, okay? So that they're getting, and tell them it's so they know the value of their house. So if you have a seller lead, treat them as if they're a buyer. There's a good chance, you know, they may know somebody who wants to move anyway, but also send them alerts of properties that are getting listed every day, every couple of days in their area. The other thing you could definitely do is retargeting. So if you're getting seller leads, you could do a thank you video that shows in Facebook, a retargeting video that says, hey, thanks for checking the value of your house on my site, or whatever it might have been. You know, if you'd like to get a more detailed evaluation, hit the button below and let me know, or shoot me a text, and I'll give you a full 20+ page report about what your house might sell for in today's market. So that would be a retargeting ad that you do on Facebook. For details about that, if you go to the learning portal, there's a retargeting 101 course, and I actually updated some of the videos in that yesterday. So retargeting 101 in the learning portal. Annalisa says market reports for that zip for sure. But those two things will get you pretty far. Do a retargeting video, set them up for hashtag property alerts, send them direct mail, you know, send them something physical that they can hold on to. Whether you have your like teenage nephew or whoever like drive their car over and put a package on the doorstep, or you send something in the mail. I think, you know, my experience has been, I remember when I was just manually sending my business card out to expireds, people hold that stuff for a long time. So get something physical out in the mail. Even if you don't hear it's crickets on the response, you send over a quick CMA, you know, 6 months later, you're getting a phone call. So definitely also get something in the mail. And this conversation could play into that, because you could automate that process. You know, you could tie into something that sends direct mail automatically and get something out to them when you're getting your seller leads. So hope that helps. And yeah, we'll see everybody later. And yes, Tass, definitely pick that up, Tass, in the Facebook group. If you have more questions, if you just want to post that question and just say, hey, what's everybody doing to follow up on seller leads? I'll reply with everything I just said, and then I'm sure there are other people will chime in. That's insiderealestate.com/Facebook group, and we can continue that there. So thanks a lot, everybody, for attending today. Thanks for all the great questions. Talk soon.